A Chinese court has decided the producer of a popular TV cartoon series was partly to blame for injuries inflicted on two children when another child initiated or imitated a scene from the show. The two kids, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, suffered severe burns when their 10-year-old friend tied them to a tree and set them alight. The boy said he was acting out a scene from the cartoon Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf. In its verdict, the court said the older boy's legal guardians and the cartoon producer, that was Guangzhou Creative Power Entertainment Company, were jointly responsible for the two boys' injuries. According to the ruling, the guardians will pay 60% of the compensation and the producers 15%. Although aimed at young children, the hugely popular show regularly features cartoon violence a la Tom and Jerry or Roadrunner. Since the incident was reported, the producers have toned down the physical violence and spent substantial amounts of money on re-editing previous shows to eliminate such scenes. So what do Chinese net users feel about the case and the verdict? Is it justified? And how big a problem is the issue of violence in cartoons? Well, to find out what's being said on the topic, let's go now to our researcher, Esther Dong. Okay, Esther, first of all, are Chinese net users generally behind the court's decision on this? Should the producers be liable, even to a certain extent, for what happened?
Well, there's no conclusive view on this, although a majority of net users are choosing to side with the producer. On an online poll initiated by QQ.com, 64% of net users think there's no need for the producer to compensate for the accident. But Shu Rui, a court judge himself, believes the verdict is suitably impartial since the children's guardians take the main liability and the producer's punishment is less severe. He says, there was no hostility between the children. The judge has the authority to decide the ratio of the responsibility, but I don't feel the verdict is biased. Another poster on iPhone.com also feels the producer should shoulder some blame. See, violence in animation and video games has a huge negative impact on children's minds. I know the producers want to make money, but they should have some ethics. But a lot of net users are more strongly against this judgment, like this poster who says, this charge is simply extortion. If you hurt your finger cutting vegetables, would you blame the person who made the knife? And this poster believes the charge is ridiculous. See, if this logic were applied to the American cartoon Tom and Jerry, MGM would have gone broke with the amount of compensation to be paid.
Well, it's certainly true that there is violence in cartoons made in other countries too, so what's the difference?
Well, a poster called 外来客 has this to say. We can find violence and pornography on foreign TV programs everywhere, and our children won't grow up completely sheltered in a protective greenhouse. The key is how to let them understand the content correctly. Some feel it may be the way the violence is portrayed that makes a difference in terms of the effect too. A post on QQ.com offers an example. The violence in Tom and Jerry is accompanied by many humorous elements that divert the audience's attention and make the violence seem less serious. While in the Pleasant Goat cartoon, the plot of burning sheep looks real and might impress children. What's more, a lot of net users are calling for the establishment of a grading system for animations, films, and TV programs in China, such as exists in the US and other countries. This poster on Sina.com says, we can apply foreign countries' experience in this field to ourselves. For example, TV programs showing to children under 6 should have no violence. For older children, the parents should accompany them and offer guidance while they watch based on the grading of the programs. And another poster adds, in foreign countries, it's not necessarily only children and teenagers who watch cartoons. Sometimes minors are not even the target audience. Censorship wouldn't be able to screen the content effectively, so a grading system is the fundamental solution. But Shen Kexian on dfdaily.com doesn't feel such a system fits the current situation in China. See, the basis of an effective grading system should involve the parents accompanying the children. The reality is that this is not possible for many children in China since their parents have to work in places far away from them.
So with so much attention focused on this case, how could the consequences impact China's creative industries, particularly the production of television programs for kids?
Well, these revelations have led to much speculation and uncertainty over the future of the entire industry. Firstly, there is a worry over the legal implications for Chinese animations, film and television producers, leading some netizens to speculate that more and more such companies will be sued and get into trouble. Zhang Bin from Shandong argues that from now on, all Chinese animation companies might as well just shut up shop for good. While Wang Yunfan on 163.com isn't so sure. This worry is unnecessary since the burden of proof should be on the plaintiff, which is difficult in cases such as this. But still, the producers of such shows should exercise more social responsibility, especially shows that target minors. There are also concerns that any restrictions might blunt the creativity of the animation designers. Xu Mingxuan says, a program with no task lists or conflicts would be too boring. We shouldn't let the tiny possibility of an accident detract from the viewing pleasure of millions of children. And as I mentioned before, some net users think the introduction of a grading system would be a helpful move. And finally, some net users would like to see more on-screen warnings, though this remains a matter of dispute. Li Xin argues. These warning notices are frequently seen on magic shows or other real-life performances. But for cartoons and other fantasy programs, warnings would undermine the enjoyment and the dramatic tension. For example, the audience would feel detracted if they saw a warning saying, please don't imitate when watching cars racing on the street.
Okay, thanks for that, Esther. And that was China Take researcher Esther Dung with some reaction there online to that recent court case in which a cartoon producer was found partially responsible for the injuries of children acting out some of the violent scenes from that very, very popular cartoon. Next up on China Take, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines.